They always say before a test you should eat an apple. For some reason that stuck with me because I would never eat that apple. When I starved my body, you have no idea how hard it is to take a test when you can't even, focus on words on a piece of paper. My eating disorder started in middle school because of bullying. I was overweight. For that weight, I was made fun of quite a bit, to the point where I was being physically thrown into lockers and things like that. I eventually decided to lose weight because a friend of mine was also losing weight for wrestling, and went to his house one day and he had a treadmill. He showed me that, you could run on a treadmill and eat one Slim Fast bar a day and you could just have weight drop off like it was nothing. I started joining him in on that and weight started flying off like crazy. Eventually my friend stopped doing his weight loss and I couldn't stop myself. I ate one diet bar a day. I did that for about 2 years. It was extremely unhealthy. I became very visibly anorexic, but you'd be surprised what the body can survive through.
Eating disorders do not discriminate. They affect people of all age, race, sex, gender, spirituality, faith. Where you live, none of that matters. They can be a part of life and a part of people's life everywhere you go. Eating disorders are a non-verbal way of communicating what people are experiencing.
I still remember to this day, one of the kids that bullied me literally had broken my nose at one point, slamming me against a locker. I was in the bathroom at high school, and he literally came over to me and was just like, "Sean, you look good." And it was like the most reinforcing thing to my eating disorder that I remember to this day. I'm never going over this weight, ever, because I'm not getting beaten up anymore. I'm safe, and people like me.
People who have eating disorders are traditionally highly intelligent, extremely successful, very well liked, and so none of those become ways to know that someone has an eating disorder. They often are high achievers. There is a definite aspect of control. A lot of times people who are struggling with disordered eating, their self-worth is in, I was good today because I kept my rules of what I didn't eat, versus someone who has the freedom to go, I can go into any situation and be around anyone and eat in any environment and not be afraid, honor what I'd like to eat until I'm satisfied, and then move on to the next moment without anxiety.
Well, I'm pretty sure I came out of the womb anxious. I worried about my grades. I worried about being perfect. I held myself to very high standards, and I don't necessarily know where I got that from. Hindsight's 20/20, but whenever I get anxious or nervous about anything, I could not eat. And it would happen over and over and over again. I was having panic attacks, couldn't focus on school. I couldn't control my anxiety, so I controlled my eating. Everything's pulling you different directions, and you just want something that you could hold on to and something that you understand. And people were catching on and seeing a pattern that I was trying to disguise and, kind of filling in the lies. I'd go on runs, say I'm trying to get in shape, but it was all just me trying to play the part until I saw results. But no one else, even my best friends, didn't even know what I was going through.
Eating disorders kind of at their root are isolating, they are life inhibiting, they very much take people out of their lives and make their lives unenjoyable, unlivable, unmanageable.
If I could describe it, it's just a cage. That's the way I felt. On my lowest day, it's just not knowing where to go, who to see.
Like, the amount of weight that I lost in the period of time that I lost was incredible. Like, it was beyond unhealthy. Your body reacts to the things you do. And so when you're doing all these unhealthy things, it's harming you in a lot of ways that you don't realize, in ways that you don't feel.
Anorexia in particular is it is the deadliest mental illness that's out there. When you're malnourished in your body, you're also malnourished in your brain. So your reasoning, your impulse control, your prefrontal cortex, and the decisions that you make are all going to be very different, and it puts you extreme risk.
At the height of my eating disorder, there was a day that I had woken up and rolled out of bed, done my 30-minute exercise routine, and I came downstairs very lightheaded, which was it was normal. Coming down, there's bacon being cooked, and I remember that because it's something I would never touch. What happened next was what my mother likes to say was the scariest moment of her life. I ended up collapsing on the floor right next to her. My heart had stopped. The only reason we even knew my heart had stopped is because my father was a doctor, and he manually beated my heart. Started breathing again, he revived me, and then the EMTs came. It was at that point that both my parents and everybody kind of realized, like, holy crap, you have a problem, and we need to deal with this, like, now. And that's when I started kind of really my first attempt at getting better.
I believe there comes a threshold where you just cannot take anymore. And I think I just got to that point where enough's enough. I'm hating myself so much, and life's not supposed to work that way. And nothing was normalized, and I long for it so bad.
You know, the truth of it is our body only has so much reserves that we can draw on before eventually you're just going to run out. Since the beginning of time, even through now, you know, food is used to connect people. Food is used when we celebrate, when we grieve, when we're happy, when we're sad. So the emotional connection is definitely there. For someone with an eating disorder, that connection is intensified. It's anxiety-inducing, it's isolating, it's stressful. It's something that then is to be avoided.
Food became this obstacle that I had to get around. And you'll find ways around it if you really want to. It was a roller coaster of up and down feelings. It was an eating disorder clinic in Maryland, and that was when my relationship with food finally took like the complete 180. There's no mirrors anywhere within this place. However, there's a TV, and so the TV was turned off so you can see your reflection in it. I thought I was maybe twice this guy's size. And I was like, you definitely have an eating disorder. You're much thinner than me. He walks by the TV, I see his reflection, and then I walk by it myself, and I'm the same size. That next day, when I took my next meal in that morning, it was like a completely different world. It was a different mindset because it was like an awakening moment. Everything that I believed I looked like, everything I thought I looked like was untrue in that moment. And that's when I decided, it's just food. I need food. I need food to live. It's not my enemy. I'm gonna make myself love it again. It is a void that just sucks you deeper and deeper and deeper. And going towards that light is a very difficult thing. It feels like it's this like little pinprick. It's a hole no bigger than that. You can't get to it until you want it.
I started intensive outpatient therapy, transferred over to the partial hospitalization program that they had at Renfrew in Charlotte. And when that just wasn't enough, I decided I really, really needed to go to Florida where the residential treatment was, and was there for a little over a month. I learned more about myself in that month than I have in my entire life. And I had 2 nieces on the way. I knew, like, if I could not love myself, how in the world am I supposed to teach my nieces and nephews that, hey, you're worth it? I mean, yes, you're gonna stumble and fall, but that's part of life, and you're you're gonna be okay, like, you're beautiful. How am I supposed to expect them to say that if I can't say that to myself?
It was about 6 years of my life that I was in and out of the hospital, probably close to 9 times. And it wasn't until at the end of that, I was about probably 19 or 20, that I really finally got my feet on the ground and got really moving towards recovery on my own. The doctor told me that when my heart had stopped, it was also because I had gone years of not eating. I've had no fuel for it. It is technically a muscle. So because of that, my heart is actually shrunk. My heart rate will not go as high as it normally would. If I ever started becoming a runner or something like that, I wouldn't be able to maintain the blood flow to my muscles as well as I normally would. And that's a physical thing that has happened to me because I decided to not eat.
Since there are so many types of eating disorders, the easiest way to think about it is if food or thoughts of food or number on a scale or how much you exercise dominates your life, there might be an issue. And whether it's something that's diagnosable as an eating disorder or as disordered eating or self-esteem issues, those are all things that at some point probably need to be addressed.
At the base of eating disorders, there are 3 main symptoms. So those typically include restricting, binging, and purging. Restricting is when someone undereats based on quantity or variety of foods. Binging is when someone consumes an excessive amount of food within a short period of time. Purging is when someone compensates for eating either by self-induced vomiting, by exercise, or by laxative abuse. So of the 3 symptoms, restricting, binging, and purging, oftentimes they will co-occur together. So that means that you can have binging in conjunction with purging or restricting in conjunction with binging. They don't have to occur all alone by themselves.
What recovery looks like. It is definitely a journey, and it's not a destination, and it's important for everyone to understand that there are certain things that you may always have to do in order to stay healthy.
For someone to fully recover, family support, friend support, getting treatment team on board, that's extremely critical because it's not something that you can overcome alone. Typically because you've got to have other people there kind of helping you out and cheering you on, keeping you accountable when you need to be kept accountable.
There are so many people out there with eating disorders that are male. So many. I'm one of them. I felt like I was the only one in the world. I didn't even meet one until I was 18.
Society influences and body image, photoshopping, social media, diet industry can be very difficult for someone to navigate. And whether it's about body image or you have to lose this much weight or you have to be on this trendy diet, it is everywhere. It's just really complex. And it's really important that we teach people that their worth is not based on a number on a scale or what they ate last night or how clean their eating is or how they fit into a pair of jeans.
I am a beautiful person because I am me. Not because I'm not what's on this billboard. But as long as that exists in this world and the world says, hey, there's TV, there's media, there's westernization, this is going to happen. It is a disease that we are putting upon ourselves. And until that stops, we're going to have eating disorders. My eating disorder is something that is behind me. It's on my back. That's the way I like to think of it. It's something that will always be with me. And every now and then it might poke a head out. But I have far too many tools in my toolbox, and I have far too much strength at this point. My fiance keeps me grounded. My kids are such a source of inspiration, and that keeps me strong enough every single day. My son's 7 and my daughter's 3, and they are the greatest things that have ever happened to me.
Loving myself means eating every day, means feeding my body what it wants, when it wants. This is what I'm stuck with my entire life, and there I was sabotaging it. Perfectionism is what I put on myself, and today I'm okay with falling short as long as I give it my all. It's my goal every single day, is just to be the best I can be. I'm Chelsea, and I'm going to be Chelsea tomorrow, whether I'm perfect Chelsea or imperfect Chelsea.
I'm a chef manager at a local grocery store, and I deal with food all day. Food has kind of always been an obsession in my life, whether it was positive or negative. At this point, it's completely positive. There's a lot of food I felt like I missed out on throughout my life, and in some ways, this is my way of getting it back. By making people food and seeing them smile, and it's my way of feeding the world.